Good afternoon, Musketeers. It's February 2nd, 2018. I'm Marta Berglund.
And I'm Ivana Dias. Welcome to our first broadcast of the semester. This is Xavier News.
From the Xavier University Television Studio, this is Xavier News. Your campus, your region, your world. This is Xavier News.
Former Michigan State athletic trainer and United States Olympic team physician Larry Nasser has been sentenced with 40 to 175 years in prison following days of testimonies from his victims. Nasser graduated medical school from Michigan State and began working there in 1997 as a team physician and assistant professor. Nasser's sexual abuse allegations go as far back as 1994, but unfortunately many of Nasser's victims were not reported to police. He was appointed the National Medical Coordinator for USA Gymnastics in 1996, and allegations of abuse continued until August of 2016 when Michigan State fired him. In November of 2016, Nasser was first charged with 3 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, but pled not guilty. After Nasser was sentenced for child pornography charges, alleged victims started emerging by the hundreds. His sentencing judge, Rosemary Aquilina, said she was signing his death warrant.
Third-year medical student Ozma Ronnie from Kohat, Pakistan was shot 3 times last week after refusing a marriage proposal. After the shooting, Ronnie was rushed to the hospital where she died of her injuries a day later. Shortly after Ronnie's death, a video of her went viral on social media. In the video, which according to local media was taken shortly before she died, Ronnie is heard saying Mujahid Afridi, the name of her alleged killer. The video inspired hashtags such as Justice for Ozma Ronnie or Justice for Ronnie, which started trending on Twitter. Afridi wanted to marry Ronnie and had issued threats against her in the past. Afridi and his brother Sadiqullah attacked Ronnie, and then Mujahid boarded a flight to Saudi Arabia later that same day. A spokesperson for the Pakistani government has said that, quote, "We have issued a red warrant and the process of his extradition from Saudi Arabia through Interpol has begun," end quote. Police have apprehended Sadiqullah, who remains in custody.
Tuesday, President Donald Trump delivered his first State of the Union address. In his speech, the president touched on many issues apparent in our nation today, including tax breaks, African American unemployment, the recovery of the auto industry, and ISIS. News analysts from all different platforms immediately began analyzing the president's speech to check the validity of his claims. Among Trump's truths were the fact that African American unemployment is at an all-time low in our nation, the economy has added 2.4 million jobs this past year, and ISIS's recent territorial loss. On the false side are Trump's claims that his tax breaks are the biggest in history. He also claims that, quote, "Under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives," end quote, and the fact that immigrants are responsible for wage stagnation in America.
For Xavier News, the wall of expression was burned in front of Gallagher on campus 2 weeks ago.
Sam Flesh has more with the story.
So the Wall of Expression is a program that Interfaith has done every year since 2010 as part of Xavier's recognition of Martin Luther King Day. And so that's in collaboration with a lot of different organizations, and it's mainly organized by the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And basically Physical Plant creates a wall for us very generously. And we invite students and passersby, just the entire Xavier community, to write on the wall. And they're invited to write hurtful things that have been said to them or about them. And we don't censor them. It was their experience. It wasn't censored when it was said to them. And then together in a ceremony, we destroy the wall. And we kind of destroy hate while making statements of solidarity. And end by kind of committing to building connections instead of walls.
So the Wall of Expression actually impacted me to join the Interfaith team. So I remember my freshman year, they had the Wall of Expression up, and I wrote on it, and it said something really terrible that somebody had said to me recently, and really liked their message. And so because of Interfaith, I've actually grown as a human being, and it's been really powerful.
As I walk by and see all the people that have also written on the wall, understand that there's other people out there that are going through the same things that they're going through, and it's okay not to be okay.
Starting in, I think, 2014, we started inviting leaders from around the Xavier community to speak and make statements of solidarity, because we've got a lot of people who are working hard to advocate for others and to create more love in this world, love over hate. And so giving them an opportunity to name the groups for which they would like to burn this wall then is a bit of a memorial in that way.
I hope that my fellow classmates get the experience of relief. They get to, put something so terrible that's been said to them and just burn it down. I mean, there's so much hate in this world that we just need to get rid of and take away.
Know that there's resources on campus and you can get help. You can come stop by the Interfaith office anytime and talk to Stephanie Rennie or Rabbi AB, or you can also go to the other offices on campus.
Police are questioning a 12-year-old girl yesterday after a morning shooting at Sal Castro Middle School in Los Angeles, California. The shooting left 5 people injured, including a 15-year-old boy who was shot in the head and a 15-year-old girl who was shot in the wrist. 2 other students suffered graze wounds, and a 30-year-old woman suffered a minor injury. There was no known motive. The grounds were declared safe, the school day continued, and students had the opportunity to meet with a therapist. The attack at Sal Castro is the 3rd school shooting in recent weeks. On January 22nd, a 15-year-old student was injured in a shooting in Texas, and on January 23rd, a student shot 16 people and killed 2 at Marshall County High School in western Kentucky.
Meanwhile, nearby, another shooting incident had 2 high school students arrested in association with a classmate's death. The Ross Township, Ohio teens, who remain nameless due to their minor status, are charged with murder, tampering with evidence, aggravated robbery, and grand robbery. The victim was 18-year-old Austin Hensley. Hensley was found by one of the suspect's mothers, who called 911 to report that the man was laying on her couch with a shotgun near his head. According to the Butler County Sheriff, the murder happened when Hensley was lured to one of the boys' houses via social media to supposedly trade guns. However, the suspects had the intention of robbing him, and Hensley was shot after a scuffle broke out. In addition to their recent arrests, one of the suspects was also recently expelled from Ross High School for making a terrorist threat to the school. Both teen suspects are expected to appear in Butler County Juvenile Court on February 12th. Sheriff Jones said he hopes the case gets bound over to adult court.
In other local news, the world's most famous hippo turned 1 year old last Wednesday. The birthday celebration for Fiona consisted of her munching on a tower of tropical fruits at her home in the Cincinnati Zoo. This is no ordinary milestone. Fiona was born over 2 months premature at just 29 pounds. Normal hippopotamus newborns weigh 55 to 120 pounds, so Fiona was severely underweight. Zoo caretakers enlisted the help of neonatal doctors from Children's Hospital to assist with caring for Fiona in the early months. Against all odds, she survived. Her keepers hand-fed her hippo formula, warmed her with blankets and hugs, and massaged her gums when they were sore. The entire time, Fiona was filmed and her story went viral. Playing cards, magnets, tote bags, and more were made in her likeness. She even has her own type of ice cream and beer. Happy first birthday to Fiona.
With Ohio midterm elections around the corner, Republican Governor John Kasich has accepted federal funds to ensure coverage to more Ohio residents. This Medicaid expansion provides approximately 700,000 people with Medicaid. While Democratic candidates hoping to replace Kasich in office may be in support of this decision, the current governor's fellow party members are not so thrilled. Ohio's Lieutenant Governor Republican Mary Taylor says the expansion is not sustainable, while upcoming governor race competitor Attorney General Mike DeWine says, quote, "When Congress repeals Obamacare, it should provide the states with more flexibility to design its own Medicaid program. With that freedom from the federal government, Ohio will develop its own system that provides for the needs of its most vulnerable citizens. We can do this by focusing our dollars on the biggest problems and by requiring able-bodied adults to work," end quote. Democrats support with the decision, with prominent Ohio figures on the left saying this expansion should be used to fight the opioid epidemic, along with providing health care to as many Ohio residents as possible.
All right, that's all from the news desk, people.
We'll be right back with Lucas Robbins and the Xavier Sports Report.
Musketeers. Welcome back to the Xavier Sports Report. I'm Lucas Robbins, and we'll begin with the big story of the Xavier men's basketball team. The Musketeers won their 20th game of the season last Tuesday versus St. John's 73-68, dropping St. John's to 0-11 this season in the Big East play. When asked about St. John's terrible conference record, Xavier coach Chris Mack said, quote, "It'll be the best 0-11 team I've ever seen anywhere in any conference, period," end quote. Despite a rough shooting night, Trayvon Blewett led the Musketeers in scoring with 14 points, moving up to third place all-time in Xavier scoring at 2,014 points. Trayvon has a chance to move up the leaderboards as he's only 114 points away from Xavier legend David West for second place. The Musketeers will face the Georgetown Hoyas tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in the Cintas Center, before traveling to Indianapolis to play the Butler Bulldogs Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. In women's tennis, junior Sophia Abelson was named the Big East Athlete Player of the Week. Last weekend, Sophia went 4-0 against Eastern Kentucky and Indiana in number 3 singles and number 1 doubles with her partner Lauren Gaddotti for Xavier University. Head coach Doug Matthews said she had both stepped up this year in singles and doubles, becoming a leader for the team. Abelson and the Musketeers will continue their season tonight against Lipscomb at Eastern Hills Indoor Tennis Club. This Sunday, the NFL season will conclude with the Super Bowl LI between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots in Minneapolis. The Patriots will be trying to steal their 6th Super Bowl ring in the Belichick-Brady era, while the Eagles will be looking for revenge after losing to the Patriots 13 years ago in the Super Bowl, and aiming to get their first victory in the Super Bowl in the team's 84-year history. The Eagles have been underdogs in every playoff game this year, and this game is no exception. And according to the bettors, they're projected to lose by 4 points. The experts point to the loss of MVP quarterback Carson Wentz to a late season injury to the team's underdog status. But replacement quarterback Nick Foles and the Eagles have embraced their underdog status, with Foles leading the way, averaging 299 yards a game with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions this postseason. And the Eagles fans and players are even donning dog masks to represent their underdog label. With their top-tier defense and pass rush, elite run game, and a confident Foles, and along with a very energetic and passionate fan base, the Eagles have a chance to upset the Patriots dynasty this Sunday. And that will do it for the Xavier Sports Report. Have a great weekend, Musketeers, and as always, let's go X.